Is he gonna ask Vladimir Putin about the ceasefire, about the way that Donald Trump wants a ceasefire together with Europeans, and how is that going to be? How do you find the response, the answer from the Russian president in terms of ceasefire?
I mean, it have been answered by Russian Foreign Ministry non-stop in the last 72 hours. There's no ceasefire. There could be only ceasefire in terms of the humanitarian reasons, so-called air, for some like short term, like Russians declared this before. It's like 72-hour ceasefire or 48-hour ceasefire, especially to collect the bodies primarily of the rotting bodies of the armed forces of Ukraine on the tactical in the tactical zones, because obviously it's a huge sanitary issue. When your corpses are beginning to rot, first you cannot be there; it smells horribly, and then of course there is a huge danger of infectious diseases and things like that. So Russians did it before, so they might go and do it again. But the point is, special military operation continues, and yeah, Russia doesn't talk to Europe. Russians know who Europeans are. They know what Ukraine is. They know what is behind them. So, yeah, you cannot talk to those people. You cannot talk to Merz or Macron, and that is why, as my good friend Byron King wrote some piece, if you look attentively at this, yeah, United States and Russia are actually joined by the hip by Arctic, and if many people forget that geographically, United States and Russia are literally neighbors. You go to Chukotka and Nome, you can walk there, once it's frozen. Obviously it's going to take you half a day or day to do it, but it's just, yeah, it's Bering Strait. And then, what? You look across from the Diomede Islands, you look at the United States. And United States, people from the United States look at that's why Alaska is so critical. It's not only former Russian territory, it is also geographically there. There's a lot of symbolism, and when you go and look attentively actually at Mr. Gilpin, the first governor of the state of Colorado, he was dreaming of making Denver the basically transcontinental capital by building this railroad from Denver, Colorado through Alaska, through Bering Strait. Obviously, it was a fantastic idea. Even today, it's practically impossible. But yeah, that was the whole idea. Can you imagine, this railway from Denver, Colorado through, Anchorage to great Russian Siberian cities and things like that? It might yet come to fruition, who knows? But United States and Russia, economically, they will always have a separate discussion. Then Russians don't even have discussions with Europeans. There's nothing to talk to, and they are fanatical Russophobes, and Europe is over, basically. So, but in economic front, there is a lot to be gained, actually, especially by the United States. Don't forget, the United States cannot refill, so to speak, its budget. It's a bloated budget. The tax base is shrinking, and the situation obviously, is horrible for you. You can only print money if you want to quantitative easing, whatever. And suddenly, if you can get any kind of the parts in the development of the Arctic, which only Russia can provide for the United States, because the United States has no icebreaker fleet. The United States has no ability to do what Russians do in Arctic. Listen, the number of resources, the amount, the volume of the resources in Arctic is gigantic, from oil to gas to rare earth, whatever. It's just colossal. I mean, so the technologies are there. Russians are waiting. Let's see what Russians offered the United States the Krasnoyarsk enrichment facilities, to invest $15 billion and then have the access to, by the way, rare earth minerals and things like that. Obviously, the United States declined. I mean, okay, Russia said, okay, we'll do it ourselves, and they are doing it themselves. But still, there are many projects which could be done to the great benefit of both countries. And will they discuss it? Obviously, with people like Besant, yeah, I mean, the guy is moron, okay? Let's put it this way. But Silvanov going to be talking to him probably about the issue of the financial transactions and banking sector which is critical for not for BRICS. BRICS is doing it itself, but itself, they transfer money within the BRICS they're completely on their own. But it will be about the situation what has happened to those $300 billion of frozen assets. And if Mr. Besant will not get the message, well, too bad. Russians don't care. They're just saying we have the list of conditions which have been reiterated for the last 38 months now, and said, there you go, take it or leave it.
What are the immediate decisions on the part of the United States, in your opinion, in terms of the aid going to Ukraine? Are they going to ask, I'm talking about the Russians, are they going to ask the United States just stop sending weapons? Or maybe if they have weapons in Europe, not let your weapon get in the hand of Ukrainians, or providing Ukrainians with intelligence? We know the Starlink is providing them with the internet connection to be used by drones, which is, I think Donald Trump can do something about it. And do you think that they're going to talk about these details? These are important if you want to put an end to the conflict.
Well,
You have to start somewhere.
Again, Trump already stated, surprisingly, oh yeah, if nothing comes out of it, we are washing our hands. Hey, dude, Russia told you to wash off your hands for since the start of the special military operation. And not only to Trump, to Biden, and they never got the message, but Russians are on record. It doesn't matter what. First, there's nothing, they cannot supply anything. United States has no industrial capability to support such kind of war. Simple as that. And Europeans even more so, because it's just the paper tigers. It's a bunch of the, chihuahuas. So if Trump does this, sure, good. Then other doors may open, But yeah, it doesn't matter. It's, again, what can possibly the United States give Ukraine? Third, there would be very many Russians, in the missile forces saying, oh yeah, please give it to us, because obviously we love to have those million rubles, just being millions of rubles as the bonuses. What? Can they give nuclear weapons to Ukraine? Obviously, it's out of the question. And if United States cannot do this, Europe is not even in the same league. They have nothing. They admitted it. They had this meeting. The only thing they can do is just bark from underneath the bench in the room where the big guys discuss things. They are nobodies. And this is what I constantly say for many years. Europe is not the subject of the international relations. It is object. And it's going to be handled by the United States as United States deems necessary. They can go out there and pretend that they matter. They don't. Not a single country in Europe matters in the long run and in the larger scheme of things. And that's probably the inevitable outcome of what Europe did. And there is a price to pay. And as I wrote, and many people say that Europe achieved what even 10 years ago would have been unthinkable. Russian society hates Europe, hates as a whole. Overwhelming majority of Russians hate Europe. And with this comes they hate Europeans, many of them. So, and they achieved that, great achievement. So let them go, basically now fade out or fade away from the world scene. And this is probably the natural and organic outcome of the people who basically, they were they were the source of the two most destructive world wars in the human history. These were Europeans. And, saying there is a price to pay. Nothing happens in this world without consequences. And these are consequences on the historical scale. The only thing they were saved by the on the other one part, the Soviet Union liberated from Nazism. They didn't like it, so okay, sure, the Russians should have allowed, I guess basically the Poles to be exterminated by Germans and others, but yeah, they remember now all those nasty Ruskies, so, and Sure, but United States provided the basically help, aid, support for Europe in a sense by events of the immediate post-World War II time period, especially with the Berlin Lift and all that kind of thing, Marshall Plan and things of this nature, thus extending the existence of this Europe for another, well, not really 80, about 80 years, 70 years, let's put it this way. Now Europe is coming down to its natural state, the state of the all kinds of the localities, they called countries now, which are going to be at each other's throats. And if they kill each other, let them, there is no common European, how to say it, European ethnicity of you. Well, I mean, racially and ethnically, obviously, there is Europe. There are Europeans, white people of European descent, like me, for example, those Portuguese, Spaniards, or Germans. But the point is, Europe has to go back to where it was. And I don't know, I mean, Westphalian states, let them fight each other, as they always did. Let them exterminate each other. Never again the foot of Russian soldier or the single drop of blood of Russian soldier will be on the European soil. And that's where they're coming. And so European Union will be essentially dissolved. United States will consume whatever it will decide to consume, and the businesses will be running out of Europe, somewhere to China. We know Germans are trying to do something, and that's it. So it's going to be second world or third world hellhole, and somebody has to think now how to remove the safe treasures of Louvre and other art galleries from Europe, because so what can I say? That's what it is. It's a sad end, but they wanted it. They worked since 19th century incessantly. They just never got anything straightened out. And now that United States itself United States has resources. It has the chance. Europe doesn't.
And they don't know how to live, how to survive without the United
No,
States. They
no,
have
no,
no friend, Andre. They have
no,
no
they
friend.
have nobody. They have, this is the continent, which is the peninsula to the Eurasian landmass, which is dwarfed economically, territorially, and resources by the Eurasian landmass. And they have some things left, like Airbus, for example. Okay, yeah, they probably will try to extend it, as much as possible. But for example, German economy is finished. And fact is, they might not even get those LNGs, which United States promised to provide them 3 times the price of what they were getting natural gas from Russia. Well, when you have Borrell, this alcoholic, who goes out and admits, and I quote, that European prosperity was based since 1970s on the Soviet and Russian energy supplies. They killed it, so there you go. It's your problems. You are the guys who, and many people now begin to, blame United States. No, Europe since 1960s was given pretty much serious, leverage in the international relations. Remember Ostpolitik by Willy Brandt and Germans, who said, and they told Reagan at some point of time to go and screw himself. We need Russian gas, we need cooperation. And there was a huge degree of the economic activity between Soviet Union and West Germany. They didn't care about, United States or troops or anything. No, it came with European peoples. It came with Germans who degenerated into this, basically combination of cattle, brainwashed cattle, and they never recovered from the utter defeat and crash of the World War II by the Red Army. So, and yeah, look at them now. And they were never friends of Russia, but at least they had enough rational thinking to understand what's good for them. Same goes for French. French, for some reason, still think that they are so irresistible. Paris is a crap hole, rat-ridden, and so it's not real. yeah, it's disgusting, smells with urine and things like that. Same goes pretty much for all of those people. The only people who are, they are also cocks, and they are also, this lefty ideas, not lefty really, it's neoliberal ideas, all LGBTQ and all that things, the Spain. But at least they maintain degree of the Catholic culture there, so it's not as easy, to do this to Spaniards. But again, I mean, nobody likes Russians, and Russians, for the first time, they don't care about Europeans. If Europe dies tomorrow from hunger, Russians are not going to interfere. It's over. And Russia turned itself completely towards the east, and this gigantic conglomerate of the, not emerging, they already emerged. Well, India is emerging. It's huge. It is huge economy by volume, but obviously India needs to go this path, so to speak, what China did by lifting the hundreds of millions of people from poverty. And India is yet to achieve this, but they are developing too. And when you look attentively at this now, put together Russian, Chinese, and Indian and Brazilian economies together, it's not even serious, when you look attentively. And again, don't forget, they inflate completely, constantly those numbers. Europeans constantly lie about their economies. They are fine. Well, Netherlands, I believe Germany does it too. They count now as GDP, prostitution and drug trade. So this is everything you need to know about those people. They are not normal people. So not all of them. I'm by no means trying to, paint with a broad brush over everybody. But you know what? Russians know now for sure that Germans hate Russian gods. And good, Russians got rid of those illusions and delusions about being, family of European people. There's not a family, they're a pedophile central. That's what it is there. So there's not a single, with the exception of Viktor Orban, there's not a single normal politician there. There's none. They're just
And
unbelievable. Fico, yeah, that's it. But again, these are small countries. They are important countries, no doubt about it, but they are small and they are close to Russia, geographically. And there is a history. Hungarians don't like Russians. Russians don't care. But at least they have this, they have this political leader who tries to preserve the, sanity in the country. So Russians don't care if they are liked anymore. That's the thing. You want to go do business, come in. It's the same what's happening with the former Soviet Union. People do not understand. The bunch of the cretins from American think tanks, that normal people do not work there. They still think that Putin wants to restore Soviet Union. Putin and Russians work hard not to restore Soviet Union again, and especially keep those, the valuable specialists from Caucasus or from those stands away from Russia. You know why? Russians live extremely well. They are beginning to live way better than Europe. And so they don't need those people, those gastarbeiters, so to speak. Those people, they were, evicting Russians from their stance and, in 1990s under the applause of the international, which is Western community. Russians don't want them. And that's what is happening right now. But again, you cannot explain to, as I already stated, average graduate of the Ivy League in some kind of whatever the hell they teach there, which is like, so the real situation, the real balance of things, the factors which play into this. And as the result, I read my lips. You can get me any kind of the so-called Russia expert from the United States, from CIA. Yeah, sure. That will be fun to talk to those people. They have no freaking clue. Okay. So, and United States and combined West wanted it, they got it. And now they're facing reality. And we'll see tomorrow what is going to happen, So there will be obviously hysteria. I know that it's reported now Anchorage is stuffed with all kinds of people. Of course, when you looked at the flight radar today, there's a lot of planes from Russia to Anchorage. I'm talking a lot. Huge numbers, like yellow stream. I don't know. There are obviously all kinds of the FSB and FSO planes, and obviously Putin IL-96. There's a number of IL-96s, Tu-214s, and probably Air Force assets like Su-35s, or maybe Su-57s also flying there, just in case, who knows. But yeah, I know the American side is trying to do the best, and that is nice, actually. Again, you know what? It's nice. It's about freaking time. There should be some kind of talk, At least Trump, if we get some kind of neutral result, Trump can check it box for himself, like, oh, you see, I was kind of able to accomplish this meeting and all that. And now, as Atlantic reported, he was begging Putin to meet him. And so we know that. We knew that. Putin knows that. And he couldn't also resist anymore because evidently he was begging him to kind of, off ramp, okay? Off ramp. Simple as that. The reality is catching up.